the plot keywords for this film on IMDb, and I'm not joking. Number 1, rock star. Number 2, severed hand. I'm in. Hello and welcome back to the 62nd episode of Good Bad Media LLC, the show we watch terrible movies to tell you who you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Schilligo, the other host, Mr. Kyle Hinton.
Hi.
You're so excited. Today's episode, we're doing the 1996 classic, Vibrations.
Now, this one had been brought to our attention multiple times.
Well, I haven't seen many reviews of it. It's a pretty obscure film, I'll say.
I'm not gonna lie, the trailer made it look much worse than it actually was.
Yeah.
Trans-utopia. Nothing can doom this brood. We're controlling the mind, manipulating the madness, sucking in the energy. Dead time! Let's go! Feel the music.
This movie's strange. I had a weird experience with this movie. It's terrible. It's not good.
No.
But the idea and some of the themes they explore, they do an okay job at, but it's just undercut at every possible moment by the ridiculous premise of robot hand rock star DJ.
To give you my summation of it, I think somebody wrote a treatment
Mm-hmm.
and then didn't think anything past that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, especially the end of this movie,
Yeah.
just seems like it was a cobbled together mess.
Again, we got 2 in a row here where it just kind of ends. Like, this one's not nearly as abrupt and terrible as Dracula.
Bingo, must be in the front row. Ain't gotta tell me twice.
But it does, it definitely does just like, it's the big final show. Oh, the bad guys are here. Arrest them, Dad. Kiss the girl. Movie over. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
Wait, what? All right. So this movie was directed by Michael, I don't know how to pronounce this, Pasornek. He directed exactly 1 film, this one.
Really?
But he wrote 7 films, the final one being this
See, that's
one.
what I was thinking. Like, this is the kind of guy who, you know, throughout many years, he's been trying to get spec scripts done, doing treatment, he's doing pitches probably, and this was like his chance to be like, I can direct my own movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
100%. But you know what's really interesting? He's produced a lot of films. Like, a whole lot of films. You know why? He's the fucking president of Lionsgate Film.
Son of a bitch. All right.
So if Lionsgate comes after us...
Well, for the record, he knows his lane.
Yeah. He's produced like the Hunger Games. He's the executive producer of the whole Hunger Games series, and literally like 80 other films. Like, the guy's kind of a producing legend, I guess, to some extent. He's produced a ton of stuff. I actually think that some of the story elements of this whole movie could be told with a different like premise, where it's do the exact same thing. A musician who's like talented and kind of stuck up, or like thinks he's super awesome, but then goes down a dark path after he has an accident or something, and then has to kind of come back from it and find a new way to express himself. You can do that, and that can be you can tell a pretty interesting story there. It's just, and there's moments, some of the acting in this isn't terrible. Like, neither of the like, the acting's mostly fine.
I help you because I want to. Not because I feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you, that's the point. Don't you know that by now?
And a lot of the emotional elements of it kind of work, but then it cuts to a scene of a robot DJing and dancing, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? God. I love Katie so we ordered the DVD, and it was sitting on my desk, and Katie looked at it. She goes, "Is this porn?" Because it's called Vibrations. And oh yeah, no, that's porn. That's porn.
There is penis in this movie. There is penis.
Kyle has already watched that one. We may eventually get there for you. But yeah, she was like, "Is this porn?" And then she looked at it, flipped it over, and read the back, and goes, this isn't porn. What is this?
Well, speaking, the tagline of it is her passion, his courage. Is like redemption is the best form of revenge. Which, by the way, does not make any sense throughout the entire context of this movie. Because like redemption and revenge are kind of like relatively not opposites, but they're definitely like perpendicular to each other.
They're not the same thing, but they're saying that he gets revenge by getting redemption. I guess. I don't know. So anyways, and then after she read it, she was like, so this is Terminator, like, right? This is like Terminator. And I was like...
Maybe more, maybe like like a rock and roll version of RoboCop?
Yeah. Also, I looked at the genres on IMDb, and it's drama, musical, and I was like, oh boy. It's not really a musical at all. There's just music in it. So, and it stars Christina Applegate is one of the main characters. And then the other guy...
James Marshall,
who I recognized, and I was like, I didn't recognize the name, but then when I saw him, I was like, oh shit, that's the dude from Twin Peaks. He's the motorcycle dude from Twin Peaks.
And his hair is wild.
Yeah, in Twin Peaks he has like short dark hair and it looks a lot better. The blonde...
Until they went to that hairstylist halfway through the film. I know, but the beginning, it looked like his hair just like rocketed outward.
I know, and I was watching and I was like, Kyle, I have your Halloween costume for this year because you have the wig already.
Thanks.
It'd just be the vibrations guy with the... All right, so it kicks in. We're driving around the neighborhood, synths playing, and the music you can tell is already really great. And there's a credit comes up at the beginning that says special appearance, and it lists like 3 musicians, and the last one is Moses on acid, and I was like, sweet, this is gonna be fun. He's playing, TJ is his name. He's playing with his band in his garage, and his dad's a cop, shows up and kind of gives him grief, but then it turns out his dad's actually like proud of him. He's like, good job, look at you, you're in the newspaper.
I don't think you ever made it to the front page of the Daily.
All right.
Yeah!
And I love the vest TJ is wearing. I was like, did people wear that? It's like this terrible.
Okay, if that's the first thing that you're going to complain about.
No, I mean everybody's clothing is very mid-90s.
Especially Christina Applegate.
Yeah. Oh my god, that one later on she's wearing that one like giant like jumpsuit thing over like another jumpsuit or something. But and then this is great. I didn't notice this. Katie caught this. He hands him the newspaper and goes, "Look, you made the front page." And then they show the newspaper. And the headlines are all in sans serif font. Now, I didn't stick out to me, but then when you look at it for a second, you start to realize that looks really wrong. Why does that look so weird? Because no newspapers in the history of newspapers ever print their headlines or any of their shit in sans serif fonts. And this beginning, the acting gets a lot better, but this acting in the opening scene here between TJ and his dad, I felt like I was watching a play.
All right.
Yeah!
Very cool.
Give him hell, TJ, and take no prisoners.
You got it.
Like, it was this level of, like, stilted, like, projecting, like...
There's equal, if not worse, examples later in the film. It all entirely deals with the town stuff.
Yeah.
Not the city stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Lisa, his girlfriend, his dad, and him. Anything that deals with the three of them feels like a one-act play.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a stage play.
A pretty hot gig you're playing tonight, huh?
Yeah, the best.
Well, you wackos deserve it. I can't imagine a band that's practiced harder or louder.
Like, it's so strange, and that's the only way I can describe it, but it just feels like it feels theatrical in a way that movie acting isn't supposed to feel.
You look wonderful.
You look great.
Thanks.
I love that one of his band members is wearing a baggy bugle t-shirt with a giant gold chain with a key on it, and it's like, it's just so painfully 90s.
Yeah.
And he hops in his Pinto and goes to visit his girlfriend. He drives a Pinto in this movie. And so he goes to visit his girlfriend, who is not Christina Applegate yet. And he shows up at her place, and I was like, I couldn't figure out what time of day this was supposed to be.
I don't know.
So
maybe afternoon.
I guess his band was practicing, and his dad comes and sees him. Then he goes and visits his girlfriend, sneaks into her room and gets into her bed, and she's asleep naked in her bed. And I'm like, what time of day is it? What is going on?
Did you bring some protection?
Oh my God. 45 or 38 or a sawed-off shotgun.
So he wakes up late for his gig. He's like, oh shit, I gotta get to my gig in Philly.
Shit.
So he's driving to the gig in his Pinto and he's running late. Some random truck drives up and is like being an asshole, like cuts him off or whatever. And then he honks at him twice. And I love that the premise, the whole inciting incident of this movie is that his car is so shitty, his horn gets stuck on.
Yes.
And that pisses off the guys because they think he's just laying on his horn at them. Moral of this story, don't have a shitty Pinto, because otherwise you'd still have hands.
Hey! Something on your mind? There you go! Son of a bitch! You got a problem, asshole?
Because he unplugs the horn, like he disconnects the horn so it stops blaring, and then it turns off and he can't get it turned back on. So the guys come and they start like fucking like. The idea is they're just like drunk hooligans, like cruising the countryside looking for trouble.
They take it very far though, to the point of just destroying his car.
They destroy his car. Yeah, one of the guys, because they're at a construction site. One of the guys hops in a backloader or whatever, whatever it's called, that has a jackhammer on it.
Yeah.
For like ripping streets up, And he's literally starts pushing holes through, because this guy honked at him a little too long, starts drilling holes through the engine, although in a Pinto, is the engine in the back? But either way, he's still punching holes through the hood of his car. And then, I guess because he's a little drunk and a little crazy,
he keeps going up further and further from the hood to the cab.
Towards the cab, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, get out of the
right?
car.
Holy shit. Like a million times I'm like, get out of the car. Like, I understand they'll like beat you up or whatever, but there's a giant hunk of fucking construction equipment that is bearing down on your face. Get out of the car. And he doesn't. There's a shot of him when it's happening, like when it's coming down. He's like,
oh no, I gotta be lower in my car.
And I'm like, get out. Just get out. But he doesn't get out, and it goes through the hood and kind of pushes down, and you hear him scream, and they're like, oh shit.
We out.
But then, so it cuts to the hospital. He wakes up in the hospital.
Oh, God, I
and
love
this scene is, it's kind of amazing. He wakes up and he sees his girlfriend's there and his dad's there. And I don't remember exactly what he does, but he just kind of like raises, he's like, oh, he says my hands hurt.
Yeah, my hands are burning.
My hands burn really bad.
And then he pulls them up and they're just stubs.
I could not understand how what happened to the car resulted in him losing just his 2 hands.
I don't know. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense.
No sense. So he has his hands on his steering wheel. The thing spikes down through like the center of the car and pushes the roof down a little bit.
You figure it'd be like, oh look, massive head trauma or something like that.
Yeah, or like his arm, like because it's through like he's like this and it's his right side. So like maybe his whole right arm got crushed or like and had to be amputated. That would make sense. But like both just his hands makes no sense.
We have an amazing scene where he's like looking at his hands and then they do a zoom in on his face. Oh my god, it's glorious. It's like something out of a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really great. And then so we get to prosthetic hands. His fake prosthetic hands. So he has like these metal these hands that he can like bend and like push into shapes and stuff. But they look pretty good. They look like real hands for the most part. I mean, other than they like always like this, unless he like, Oh, and then so he gets home and he's like super upset that he doesn't have hands anymore because he was a great keyboardist and guitar player and now he can't do either. And I was like, dude, just become a drummer. Like, you can do it. There's famously a drummer who only has 1 arm. I feel like you could make it work with 2 fake hands. And so he just starts smashing all of his instruments because he's so mad because his girlfriend comes and she's like trying to kiss him and like, I missed you. And he's like, no.
This is wonderful because this was an actor who did not give a shit about the lines he was given. And like, you can tell the director, who I'm guessing was also the writer, right?
Yeah.
He wrote this and like, oh man, this is so smart. Look at this. He's so like hates everything, but he's also like funny about it and stuff like that. Oh man, look, I'm stumped.
Yeah, he says I'm stumped.
You want the thrill of your life?
God, TJ, no!
Stumped? I know I am.
Damn it, TJ, stop it!
You know, here's the other thing that, just to critique it from an actual writing standpoint that which doesn't really merit, but the reason he lost his hands, and I guess you could go both ways with this, but I would have liked if so he's like this hotshot musician and he's like super talented and he's killing it, and he something happens where like if he had instigated with those guys and like in some sort of way, they should have changed the whole thing. It shouldn't have been like a weird random like passerby got drunk hooligans on the road. It should have been like he's at a gig and like he like fucks with like the roadies and they like kick his ass and break his arms or something.
I was thinking like Dragon Sound in the rival
camp. Or a rival band, but not
you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. But not a rival band. What I mean is like he's because he's so good and he thinks he's so awesome. He's like a dick to somebody, or it's like, you know, shitty to some like I said, the roadies or the security or something, and so they like kick his ass, and that's what causes him to lose his hand or something. And then so it's like a process of him learning to be humble. I don't know, just do something. Like it's just like a random event happens and he loses. And again, there's some merit to this sort of thus his life aspect of it. But anyway, so then he runs away to New York, just...
Yes.
Hard cut.
What the hell?
Hard cut. And then we see his dad.
I gotta talk, so his dad's like on a treadmill or
Is
a
that
bike.
what? Okay, because I was, he's on like an exercise bike.
And he's got like, this
it's a towel, right?
That's in his shirt. It looks insane.
When you first see him, it's like a close up, and I'm like, is he wearing like a back brace? What the fuck is that? But it's just a towel like around his neck. Yeah.
But he's like basically talking to the department.
Yeah,
that
like
he's a lieutenant
police, I guess. Yeah.
That his son's been missing and stuff like this. Well, they say, well, your kid's like hardly a minor and stuff like this.
Yeah.
I know what you're going through, but I got 400 juvies with parents screaming for their kids. Your boy's hardly a minor. You want more action? You're gonna take him upstairs.
I will say, as somebody who has written up police reports of missing people, he is arguably suicidal.
Yeah.
In which case they would be looking for
him. Yeah, exactly. Like I'd be like, he destroyed the entire all of his instruments and like screamed at his girlfriend and ran out the door. Like, I think we're a little worried about him. That's all I'm saying.
I love that look in your eyes, like, oh my god, you were that crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I lost it and ran away to New York once.
Moving on. So he runs away to New York, and then apparently it's just now he's an alcoholic. And
He has a great line whenever he's like, whenever the person drives off.
yeah,
Yeah, you can go buy a thing or whatever with all that money you're saving. What?
great stuff.
Oh, hey, man, buy yourself a new Bonneville with that money that you're saving.
And then I love his drunkenly squatting into a box to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like 40 seconds of him
He like
just like
straight up breaks into this place.
yeah, because he's inside. Well, I think it's like the idea because it's a rave, so I think it's like an old abandoned like factory.
Totally. But he like kicks open a supposedly locked door.
Yeah, yeah.
And then kicks open a window.
Yeah, a window grate thing or something. Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Oh, you're just
breaking
destroying
into that
property.
place.
Okay.
Yeah. So then he falls into a box and passes out, and then
Drinking everybody's favorite alcohol of the mid-90s, apparently, Night Chip.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. I've never heard of it. So he passed out, and luckily he passed out in a rave hall.
And nobody woke him up or anything.
I guess he's like off to the side or something. But yeah, he wakes up and he stands up and there's like music playing. He's like, what is going on? And he starts walking around. And I was like, oh, he's going to become the rave master. This is the best superhero origin story since High Kicks.
Oh god, I gotta put that into a D&D game now. The Rave Master.
The Rave Master?
He just uses like hypnotic patterns and stuff like that.
Be awesome. And that's what I was hoping was going to happen, was that he was going to become some sort of superhero, but that's not the direction this movie goes at all. And then so Christina Applegate is like the rave mom. She like wanders around and like looks for people that look too high or just drunk, and it's like, are you okay? Go outside, I guess is like what she does. So she
I took a lot of ecstasy.
Oh, and then so he goes outside, and then eventually I think Christina Applegate is talking to her boss, and he's being shitty, so she leaves. I don't remember, but she's walking down the street. She's like leaving the rave that night, and our guy's outside, and these two random guys start like fucking catcalling Christina Applegate. And as these guys are dressed, oh, so good. Oh no. Oh god. The 90s. All right. And so they like start coming on to her, and then our guy TJ shows up and is like, hey, leave her alone. Leave her alone. And then he
Switchblade.
Yeah, they pull out a switchblade. And he comes at him. Stab. And what does our guy do?
And then just an amazing shot. Block it with your fake hand, which is like clearly an extension behind underneath your shirt.
Yeah.
So your arm looks like Mr. Fantastic from the 1994 film.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whoa.
He's got a knife through his hand. Because I know it's funny, because like half the time he's wearing gloves that look like prosthetics, and then he just holds his hands like this. And then other times when he needs to do stuff with them, he has like fake extra added on hands. So yeah, they really went through all the stops to make his hands look super.
I'll give him credit on this. The prosthetic for the stump doesn't look too bad.
I don't think that's a prosthetic. I think that's a person with a stump who is like off camera.
Okay, I thought you were implying that James Marshall really is that dedicated and actually had his own hand severed.
No. Yeah. No, I think that's like they're doing the thing where like he's like there's like a guy just behind him.
Hey, what's your job? Stump.
Stunts up. Like on Whose Line Is It Anyway, where they put their arms through. Yeah. It's like, so he's standing there and he's like, my stumps, and the guy with the stump sticks his arm under.
Wait. You mean they have like a hollowed out bed that he's like hiding under?
Yeah.
Look at my arm.
Yeah. I really think that's what's going on here. I really do.
Oh, it's glorious.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Did they get you?
Blocked it. I really should walk you home. You're pretty dangerous.
Hard Nips in the 90s. Name a more iconic duo. Because she's like, hey, I'm going to make you a sandwich or whatever. You go wash up or whatever because he's all grungy.
Tuna on wheat.
Do you like tuna? I think I might have some tuna fish. Maybe on some whole wheat bread or something?
So he goes and he takes a bath. And he doesn't come back out. And she's like, what? And she goes in there and he's passed out in the bathtub. And his booze is next to him. And I don't know if you noticed. I mean, he has been homeless and he is very dirty. But the water is so grungy.
Yes.
TJ, wake up. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, boy. That's, oof. I bet that smells great. It's like a homeless person's stew going on there. Oh, boy.
Baby, you got a stew going.
So then he wakes up the next morning and he meets some of the other neighbors.
Wakes up. Okay, so they set up this super amplifier.
Yeah.
Warned you about that. No way. Yes way.
For, I guess, it's supposed to be for outdoor venues.
Yeah.
But it's like destroying the complex that they're in.
Right. So we have to set up a couple of her neighbors. One of her neighbors is a computer nerd who they call Nerd.
My name is Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard. They call him Nerd.
Oh my God. Ray, it's Cena. She's gonna kill you.
Well, it's your box, geek.
And he creates like super cool tech. Like he's like a supercomputer whiz or whatever. And he makes like and then one of the other neighbors is a DJ. Is a techno DJ. And his name's Simeon.
No, Simeon. I developed this for outside concerts. I made that perfectly clear. But once again, you've proven you cannot be trusted.
That guy, I love that guy's hat. He's wearing the hat it has a rubber glove on like a dangly.
What the hell?
Fucking weird. Also, the actor that plays that character is his name's Scott Cohen. I recognized him because he was in one thing I watched like last year, which is a 2000 made-for-TV miniseries called The 10th Kingdom, which is a very strange...
In the land of 9 kingdoms, where fairy tales are true and the Wicked Witch is real.
I hope you like dogs, Wendell. You're going to spend your life as one.
A curse on the prince has him running for his life.
I was looking through the IMDb reviews of this film, and literally one of them is, Scott Cohen is the best part of this movie. And I was like, Scott Cohen wrote that.
Yeah, he's fine. I actually think he's pretty good. But and in the 10th Kingdom, he plays a Wolfman thing, but he plays literally the exact same character.
Just like a wild guy.
Yeah, he's like a wild guy with a heart of gold, but he's a wolf in the other.
Wait for me. I've traveled oceans of time.
Aw, man.
I've had little teasers of your scent before, Virginia, but in the flesh. Perfumes are not for me. No. I respond favorably to the audacity of a woman who flaunts her own aroma.
And then, so the nerd guy makes like a super fancy amplifier for the DJ, and the DJ is using it inside, and it's like, rattling the rafters and the plaster's falling off and stuff. And the nerd goes up there and it's like, you can't use this inside. This is only for outside or whatever.
And you're banned from the booster.
Oh, come on, geek. Give me the box back.
No, Simeon. I developed this for outside concerts.
So then everybody kind of wanders out of the apartment, and our guy's hanging out there, and he sees some money in Christina Applegate's purse, and he clumsily tries to get
money.
Here, I'll save you the trouble.
I'm sorry.
Whatever. Get dressed and get out.
Oh, so then he runs into her at a diner.
Yes.
Later, like the next couple days
later. Because he's like, I'm gonna pay you back. When I saw the diner and it just says restaurant up there, I was like, is that the Seinfeld restaurant?
Yeah.
It ends up, it's not. But the point being is, like, I guess that's a common thing to just have restaurant.
You don't even have to figure out, or you don't even have to advertise what it is or what kind of food you have, what your name is. We're a restaurant. Come in, eat some fucking food. Shut up. It's New York. So he goes in there and she's sitting there, and he's gonna pay her back. He had been panhandling and got collected money.
What a great scene that he has his hands in his back pocket.
And so he tries to give her the money, but she doesn't want it. And so he goes to collect it back up. But then something happens and a fire starts.
Yeah.
Either you leave that money or I'm gonna drag you out of here unconscious.
And so they're like, oh shit. And he runs over there and shoves his big hand on it.
Oh shit! Get away from there, you dumb outfit! What are you doing? Don't touch that, you dumb outfit! Stop! What are you doing?
To cover it and like snuff out the fire, basically. And then everybody's like, wow.
He's like a superhero.
He saved us with this fake hand. Awesome.
You just had a freaking flamethrower.
Fine. And it's just like when stuff like that, it's like I want to take this movie seriously, but it's just so silly. Like this movie tries to have it both ways, where it's like, look at this super heartfelt, emotional character piece about redemption and love and finding your true purpose in life. Also, he's got robot hands. So then he goes to a rave again, and I love when he's going in there like, no, he has like a thing of alcohol in his pocket or whatever, and they go, no booze, no drugs.
Hey, this stays right here. No booze, no drugs.
And I'm like, worst rave
ever. First off, that's not true.
I have a feeling, I have a thought of why that is, and that it is accurate. Here's my thought, is that because it's like a...
No outside drugs?
No, well, partially.
You want to get high, you do it on our dime.
No, what I think it is they don't want... So if the cops get called or something, and the cops raid them, that way they don't have a huge crowd carrying a bunch of drugs and booze that they shouldn't, they don't have a liquor license or whatever. You're not allowed to do. But, so it's do all the drugs, drink all the booze you want, then come to our rave.
Pre-party.
Yeah, exactly. You got a pre-game for the rave. I have a feeling that that's what that is, and it's actually probably how it did work, maybe. That you're supposed to... I'm sure if you had like a thing of LSD or whatever... Or ecstasy or whatever, and the guy's like, no drugs, and you're like, all right, and he'd be like, all right, cool, you're good. He'd be like, that's fine. And it's like, this one, I'm like, we're 45 minutes in, there's still no robot DJ. I feel like I've been lied to by the cover of this movie.
So he does niceties to it, like he does. I mean, yeah, he's messed up. He's like all drunk and stumbling and stuff like that. He tries to do something relatively right by being like, "Hey, you left all your shirts and stuff at the diner."
Oh yeah.
And so that's why he's there. But he just ends up like stumbling in.
Yeah, he just stumbles and falls on the ground. It's just like, but then, so the next morning he goes to buy his morning booze.
Yep.
And he gets it, and then he walks around the corner, and in the most cliche moment,
looks at himself, his reflection. Because there's
what have I become?
There's nothing more generic
right.
or that filmmakers love using more than somebody staring at their own reflection.
I know, it's like the most cliche moment you could possibly put in your film. He literally sees himself in the window. He's like, I don't even recognize me anymore. It's like,
then, okay, so he holds up the drink and then slams it. But here's the thing. He's like, I can't just drop it.
No.
These aren't hands.
No.
I can't just drop it. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna slam it on the ground and then like clumsily move my hand off. It looks so stupid.
It looks amazing, and then he stomps on it. I love it. So he's done. He's done drinking, and then I guess he runs into her again.
No. He's like detox.
Yeah, but how does she? Oh, she finds him.
Yeah, and he's like got shakes and stuff.
Yeah. He's 100% detoxing. Like he's going through alcohol withdrawal. Yeah, and this is one of those movies where you actually see somebody who was an alcoholic going through detox, and it looks miserable. Like he looks like he's gonna fucking die, which I think it is pretty common to if you're like going through straight up cold turkey alcohol. If you're like a person who drinks all day, it can straight up kill you, and often will if you're not like in a doctor setting or something like that. But he gets through it on love from Christina Applegate because she blots his forehead for him. So then he hears or I don't know what, but he ends up going up and visiting with Simeon, the DJ guy, and he's like gives him a crash course on techno.
Yes. This is like the most this is so horribly like college student 90s where they're like,
see, the idea is to get the vibe going.
You gotta focus on your karma, and we're going on an intergalactic trip.
Then you maintain the vibe with a trance-inducing bass.
Yeah. Where we got a bass line, and you're going through time and space.
See, we're primal, heading for cosmic.
And it's just, oh my god.
Just when you think we're in galactic ecstasy, we go acid.
Well, I love my favorite thing after that is, so there's that scene with all the techno, and he's like, wow, this is awesome. And then they have dinner that night or whatever, like the whole apartment complex gets together and has dinner, and they're all talking, and Christina Applegate has the like most awful, like navel-gazy, like fake deep line where she's like,
I'd rather explore the space inside my brain. I mean, it's the only place really worth exploring, if you ask me.
Or something. It's just like, and they're all like, cool.
I mean, the answer isn't just up in here. It's in here.
The breasts. Of course. The answer's in the breasts.
It's so deep and free-spirited.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so deep, geek. Wow.
And he still doesn't have robot hands at this point. I'm like, we're over an hour into this movie. There's like 40 minutes left. How does he not have robot hands? Yeah.
But this is like a montage of him like getting his shit together to a degree.
Yeah, basically.
They get him a haircut where he finally doesn't have that rocketing hair. Now it's like swoop back like Patrick Swayze.
My favorite thing is that he gets that haircut and like somehow it seems, I think it would be a nightmare because like 90% of the volume of his hair.
Oh yeah, it's entirely there. Like it's totally thrown off his balance.
Yeah, I was like, that looks like I hate when my hair gets a little bit longer on the back of my head because it just starts getting like and I'm like, I can't imagine having that much hair just on the back of your head. So then he has this idea that he goes to a music store. Yes. And he sees like a player piano, like a computer like piano, and this gives him the idea of robot hands. I don't know. It gives him
the idea of putting notes in note by note.
Yeah.
And playing it back
like a program.
Relatively real time.
Yeah. So, but we never went. We're about to talk about it. So then they cut to a montage. We also forgot to set up the landlord of this apartment. Is like a metal worker. Like she's like she makes. I don't know. She's welding every time we see her.
Yeah, she's like making crazy like a thing that goes over your head, but it also has like an instrument on it.
Yeah, she's like some weird like experimental.
In which case that wouldn't work incredibly well because most instruments with strings need to reverberate.
Yeah,
to some degree, and it would just like stop on.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would work very well, but I don't know. I'm not an experimental metal musician, instrument maker.
Xenas at the performance are cool, right?
So he goes to her and is like, hey, I got this idea. I want to make these hands. And then he also goes and talks to his nerd guy and it's like, hey, so the nerd guy is making like circuit boards for him. And then she, literally the only thing we see her doing in this montage is she has like a ring that she is like welding some stuff to. Yeah. And then the montage ends and the camera pulls back and they are fully articulated robot hands.
Hot. It's very hot.
And I'm like, that is not...
With felt pad fingertips?
Yeah.
I put these felt pads at the end of the fingertips so you can have that soft touch.
I was like, that is not what we saw you making in the montage. You had like two pieces and then all of a sudden it's like that thing where it's like, step one, how to draw an owl. Step one, draw a circle. Step two, draw the owl. And then it's just like the rest of the...
Well, then again, like in... that's the joy of anything that deals with electronics, because people don't know electronics by and large. The circuit board could just look like, oh, that's a circuit board to like a microwave or a washing machine
or a calculator.
Yeah, exactly.
So then they explain how they work, and so and this is so weird because so he goes. They do this like little scene of him figuring out or talking about how they work, and he bends they bend his prosthetic fingers into like pointers, and he's sitting at a piano, and the guy hits play on like or record on like this device, and he goes, now hit some notes or whatever, and he goes burp, burp, hits like 8 notes, and then they hit play and it plays like 1,000,000 notes, and I'm like,
then we hit playback.
It's reawakening.
It's alive! It's alive!
What?
And not only that, it's like it's not just these digits.
It's not. It's all of them. I'm like, but he just went. Burp, 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 burp. He basically played chopsticks, and then they hit play, and it's like, and I'm like, well, that's not what. What is going on?
But Brian, we got metal hands.
We do have metal hands. Finally, an hour and 10 minutes into this movie, and we finally have robot hands. So then he comes. Christina Applegate comes home from work or whatever, comes from somewhere, and he's in there like he had like lit candles and is like playing like a lit serenade to her or whatever. And she's like, "Wow, this is so nice." He goes, "Well, you've been so nice. I just wanted to get the mood right in here or something like that."
The place looks fabulous. What's the occasion?
Well, I thought since you've been doing so much for me, I thought maybe I'd get a really nice vibe going for when you got home.
All right.
It's so good. And then I'm like, holy shit, he's going to finger blast her into outer space with those fucking hands, man.
Well, here's the thing. He's got that egg beater attachment.
Yeah, that's what I said. Later, he's got a blender, like a blender attachment. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm seeing some real practical purpose or uses for this motherfucker. You can apparently attach any household object onto your fucking robot hands. So then she goes... she's like, she hears him playing. She's like, he's really good. So she goes to the guy who runs the rave, who I recognized from something, but I couldn't place.
And at some point, he and Christina Applegate were together at some point. That was set up earlier in the film.
Yeah.
To set up this scene.
Yeah. So she goes in and she's like, look, you got to give a spot to this guy I know. He's great. He's super talented. Just get him a spot in the rave, like to DJ.
He is an incredible musician. I mean, he can take you from trance to utopia.
Save the hype on Amiga.
And he's like, I don't even remember what he's like. No,
he's like, you're gonna come to me with somebody I've never heard of.
Yeah,
I got a proposition.
You bailed out on me. You want to come back? You want to get back together with me? Fine, I'll help you, friend. But otherwise, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Fucking gross. And so this whole time, the neighbor, the DJ neighbor is like sitting out. He was also going there for some reason. He's like hanging out outside. I also don't know. I don't know if you noticed this. The scene with the club owner. He's holding a cup when the scene starts. It is the cup of the 90s with that swoosh design, like the purple and the turquoise. It's that. The solo, whoever made that. I was like, holy shit, it's the cup.
What is your problem? I mean, why don't you give the girl a break?
So then Simeon goes in and is like, hey, fucking asshole, give this guy a spot because you're an asshole. Just don't be an asshole.
He's got like 6 cassettes in hand. It was like, oh, yeah, that's 90s.
Yeah, he's got a whole handful.
He's got all of his
cassettes.
mixtapes.
Yeah, his old mixtape. We cut to the next night or whatever, when the next rave is. The guy agrees to give him a spot, basically. But Christina Applegate doesn't know this because she thought... Well, last she heard, he was like, no, unless you fuck me. And she was like, fuck you. And so I love they're cutting through the...
And this is where we are introduced to Cyberstorm.
It's Cyberstorm!
Which, where did the rest of this costume come from? We saw them make robot hands. The next time we see him on stage, he's straight up fucking full-on robot. Yes. Like, I don't know where that came from. And I love, too, there's a quick shot of panning out the front of the club, and there's, like, all the people standing in line waiting to get in, and there's one girl who is practicing her glow stick dancing. She's not holding glow sticks, but you can tell by her hand movements that that's what she's doing.
Oh, did you notice something in the credits? The person doing the dancing for Cyberstorm? That's not James Marshall.
Oh, is it
no? They have their own dancer just for Cyberstorm.
Well, he's got some fucking sick moves, let me tell you. He's getting it. That's the thing. You try to have this emotional movie, and then you cut to it. I'm gonna juxtapose like the most emotional, heartfelt moment of this film right next to fucking Cyberstorm going.
Dad?
And you take this movie seriously.
No, not at all.
I didn't know the worst part about drinking was quitting.
Everybody loves it. Everybody thinks it's amazing. Oh, also she confronts the club owner guy, and I had to do some research, which means they had to do some research. She calls, unless I misheard what she said, she calls him Purgatorious.
I think that you're a purgatorious piece of shit.
And I was like, what the fuck is Purgatorious?
I mean, somebody destined for purgatory?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find that. So I Googled Purgatorious, unless I spelled it differently or she said something else. What Purgatorious is...
What an adjective.
It's not an adjective.
What?
The only definition I could find was an extinct proto-primate that was an extinct species of ape.
Ah, okay.
So that's actually kind of a good burn.
So it's like Homo Purgatorious?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But no, it's not, because it was too far before. It was well before Homo. Like, it was proto-primate.
So it's no Homo?
They kind of look like...
Set it up just for that joke.
I quit.
He's gone. All right. So we are back with Kyle on, I guess, just Bad. That's the section of the table I'm sitting at.
We're starting now. Action.
Okay.
And action. Oh. But anyways, it's like a proto. It was like an extinct genus of rat and ape thing. So I think it's a pretty solid burn, if that's what it actually means. Yeah. So then, then we get the robot DJ dancing, and I realized, I looked at him, I'm like, he's Deadmau5 before Deadmau5 was Deadmau5. Like, it's kind of with this whole outfit and everything.
He's just not being sued by Disney.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love too. Simeon's a real bro in this movie. He backs up after the guy's a creep to Christina Applegate. He like confronts the dude and is like, "Hey, you fucking weirdo creep! Give this dude the job because he's good."
Barry, you're an asshole.
What am I supposed to do with this guy? What am I running, a fucking amateur hour?
And then after the dude gives TJ the job, he's talking to that same, I think, the club owner again, and the guy's like, "Good job finding this guy." He's like, "Nah, that was all Christina Applegate."
You think we can get him to go out on tour with us?
Well, I could try, but you know how temperamental those side boys could be. Why don't you ask Mika? He's a friend of hers.
Like, he's the best friend that anybody could have.
And the club owner has the God, it's so good. It's so good. He just looks and he's like, shit.
And then just constant shots of Cyberstorm dancing, and I have these shots. This is my everything. I just want a loop of Cyberstorm going like this. Like, it's amazing.
Do the robot.
It's literally all he does. Yeah, and it also seems like, I guess the idea is that he's... Oh, also his whole inspiration is the thing that sets him apart as a DJ is that he does like classical techno. Like he incorporates like classical music into his techno. But all the shots we see of him, it just looks like he's just playing piano. Now, I guess it's like... I guess we're to believe that earlier during the day, he hit record and one note at a time plucked out this entire thing.
Do you realize how long
that's what I mean. I assume that's what we're to believe, and then somehow then he hits play and it plays back all the notes in full speed at the right. It doesn't make any sense. So then they go on tours, a little bit of montage. They're going around to different places, playing a bunch, and we keep seeing he's rising up the list to the headliner.
Yeah.
He's the fucking Cyberstorm.
Not just the headliner. When he gets to the final play, his name is the only thing on the marquee.
Yeah, it's just Cyberstorm. And so we see that he's going to a big show, doing a big show in Woodfield. Hometown Woodfield. So, and he's been gone for like a year or something. Or we don't know how long, but he's been gone for at least months. And so he's going back to Woodfield, and I love this. They're at the hotel, and so he's like blaring techno music.
Oh my God, I thought that was a very touching moment where how he got his dad's attention.
It is kind of, but also I'm like, it feels weird. Like you're not wrong.
It feels weird, but it also feels like super right.
Five minutes. Getting pretty good at these noise complaints.
I don't disagree. Like I said, this movie has moments that work for it. But yeah, so he's playing his music, so they call the cops, and his dad shows up for like the.
Now, if it wasn't his dad, that'd be very awkward. If it was just like
some random cop walks in,
beat cop,
knocks on the door, opens it, and he's like,
"Shit,
turn your music down." And walks out. But so it's his dad, and I love his dad has this moment. I don't have any glasses, or he's wearing glasses and a hat, but he does the. Oh my God, rips his hat and his glasses off in one. Yeah.
Oh my God. TJ.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. And then so they kind of reunite, and I love too, TJ at this point's like, so how's Lisa doing? And I'm like, oh, you mean that girlfriend you just straight walked out on and never spoke to? I'm sure she's not great, or at least not happy to hear from, wouldn't be super happy to hear from you.
Is Lisa around?
So she shows up during sound check, and they have like a heartfelt, and she's just like happy to see him. There's no hard feelings about the fact that he just like screamed at her and then ran away to New York, never to be seen again.
I just lost it, so I cut out.
And it's okay. I mean, now look at you. You're back home. It's incredible.
She's just like, all right, I get it. I mean, now to be fair, it's good for them. They're understanding that a guy dealing with the trauma he was going through of losing his hands had to fucking deal with it.
Whenever he takes off his hands, like, you want the thrill of your life. It's like, now, what would you exactly call that? Because I guess just stumping? Because you couldn't call it fisting. There's not a fist. Now, what would you exactly call that? Because I guess just stumping? Because you couldn't call it fisting. There's not a fist.
So then it's so funny too, because now Christina Applegate gets super jealous of this. She's like, "Fuck, I can't believe I called her." Now,
you caused this.
She's like, he's gonna go back to her, and so she confronts him, and they have like a back and forth. And I love TJ has this line where he goes, "Look, you think you know everything. Next time you butt into my life, this is what's going to happen to you." And then he kisses her.
That's your problem. You think you know everything. Let me tell you something. Next time you butt into my life, this is what's gonna happen to you.
And I'm like, what does that mean?
What? Okay, there is an awkward moment where he's talking with Lisa where she's leaving, and he like goes in for a move, and it's not what she wanted, and then he kind of like repositions himself just for a weird hug.
It was really good seeing you.
But as they're leaving,
yes,
who's running security here?
It's the guys from the assholes from the beginning, the Hands clan. Hands clan. So yeah, it's the fuckers who took his hands are the security guys. So he comes up with this plan of revenge. He grabs the super amplifier for outside purposes. And sets it up to being. He puts the speakers to the vents or something.
Yeah, the whole process here didn't make any sense, and also it did not have the same effect as it had in the building.
No, it's completely different. So he sets up the speakers to like the vents or like this room. So there's a break room in the basement where he tells the security guys, "Hey, go down there. There's food and beer and stuff. You guys eat and drink and have fun." And then he sends the rest of the people out to make sure they're not down there, like the roadies and stuff. He's like, "Don't go outside," or whatever. And then the concert starts, and he locks them in that room. He like puts a board over the door and locks them in.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, look.
Here, gentlemen, all we need now is a little ass to kick.
And he starts playing. And when he starts playing and the music starts pumping in,
it just like puts out a high frequency noise?
What the hell is that?
And I was like, is he gonna blow their heads up? I was like, if this fucking movie ends with their brains melting out of their noses
God.
And then...
I thought you were hoping for like scanners or something where their head just
that
blows
or
up.
that it would be even better. If he murders them with techno music and then the movie ends, I'd be like, this might be my favorite movie of all time. Like if their heads just explode like lemmings. So then, you can see the ending coming from a mile away, is that he starts playing and they're like, oh, we're dying, no, and they can't get out, and then his dad walks into the crowd, and he sees his dad.
Okay, and then he also sees Christina
And then
Applegate.
Christina Applegate walks into the crowd.
Christina Aguilera. Okay, there is a slight issue when it comes to filmmaking here. If you're going to show us parallel action, cuts of us looking at Cyberstorm and looking at Christina Applegate, and you're supposed to imply as like, I can't do this because of her.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that while he has a mask that obscures his face, that completely misses the point.
You're not really getting the emotion, the feelings from him. It's still kind of, you can tell that's what's going on, but it doesn't because
we keep pushing in on Christina.
Yeah.
I was about to say it too.
Aguilera.
We keep pushing in on her, and we keep like getting back to the same. It's like robot. I am robot. Look at my emotion.
I am learning to feel. And so, and then he looks at his dad, he looks at Christina Applegate, and he's like, no, I can't do it. So he unplugs the cable.
What the hell was that?
It's pumping the death.
Which, by the way, I gotta say, the fact that he programmed that hand movement specifically into the song.
Yeah. He knew the whole time he wasn't gonna kill him.
So in 235. Yeah.
Unplug it. That's fantastic. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh my goodness.
Get out of here, come on! Come on, get out! Get the fuck out of here!
They break out of the room they were stuck in and come out and start running through the crowd. And I love this. He just, at this point, he takes his mask off. And his dad's there, and he signals to his dad. He mimes to his dad from stage as the guys are running through the crowd.
Without a hand. So he's just like,
He's like, and his dad's like, Timmy's in the well.
This is the worst game of charades I've ever seen.
But his dad puts it together and it's like, oh, those are the guys responsible for your hands being gone. I know, I'll get them. And he walks over to him and goes, you need to talk to me outside or whatever. I was like, oh, I guess we resolved that. Like, they're just gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
And then he hops off stage and makes out with Christina Applegate, and then the fucking credits roll, and I was like, all right,
okay.
Woo, we did it. That's kind of a movie. Like,
yep.
Dude, I don't know. It's not good bad.
It's meh bad?
It's meh bad. Yeah, we don't have a meh bad. It falls in. There's another movie we've done not too long ago that was in a similar category. Good Cop, Bad Cop.
Yeah.
Kind of falls into the same thing where there's some good acting, there's some good writing, there's some good ideas. It's not terribly done, but then there's silliness that's like
throwing a dog down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, or just the way like the prop design and stuff just looks so ridiculous, and but like there's other moments that are really good, and it's just like,
no, this is definitely an example of a movie with super low concept ideas, and then we just kind of stayed that way through everything else.
Well, it's high concept character drama wrapped in low concept sci-fi robot. It makes no sense, and then they execute it mediocrely, average. That's going to do it for the 62nd episode. Good, Bad, or Bad. As always, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/GBorBB. We have episodes of our podcast out there, backlog AMAs that we've done, backlogs of our old podcast, Kyle Hates Everything.
Yep, you can hear all of our opinions, or you can ask us our questions, because we can fill some sort of void in your life.
Yeah, so we'll do another AMA probably in a couple weeks or so. We do one every month or two. And we are occasionally streaming on Twitch again. We just did, at this point, a couple weeks ago,
Marvel's Spider-Man?
Which at this point, the Good or Bad episode on Marvel's Spider-Man is out, which we recorded the gameplay for that live on Twitch and interacted with people while we were doing it. And then afterwards, we played games with played a trivia game with viewers, listeners, watchers, whatever, which was a lot of fun. So look out for.
I sucked at it.
I won one, and then Lindsay won one, and then McGurk.
I progressively got worse because I went from being like, maybe I died like fourth, and then I died like second, and then I died off the bat just immediately.
Now everyone gets to vote. Pick the drawing that you hate the most. Pick the drawing that makes you go.
I don't even know what half of these are.
Votes are in.
I got it.
Oh, I got killed.
I don't think people could tell what it was.
I couldn't exactly.
To be fair, I couldn't tell what the one that looked like 3 balls was. Like the ball sack with 3 balls. I don't know what that was. So
I got killed so quickly this time.
If you follow us on Facebook or Twitter, we always post when we're going to stream. We're going to be doing that more often. So look out on those things for that. And you can watch us on Twitch and come hang out and ask us questions and all that sort of stuff. I have a podcast called This Film Is Lit. We talk about movies that are based on books. We're in the middle of our Harry Potter run. We're taking a break from Harry Potter. The episode that'll be out when you're watching this is Where the Wild Things Are, the kids' book, Spike Jonze film, which he made some interesting movies, and then he made Where the Wild Things Are, and Being John Malkovich and other stuff. But that's when we're doing, and then we're going back into Harry Potter after that to wrap up Harry Potter. So.
Do you need a palate cleanser?
We need it. Well, more than a palate cleanser. The 5th Harry Potter book is 860 pages long. And so we needed more than 2 weeks to read. I mean, we could have got it read in 2 weeks, but we decided to put one in between so we had more time to read it because it was going to be a rush to get through it in that short of a time. So, if you're interested in Harry Potter, we the most recent Harry Potter episode is The Goblet of Fire, and we just ripped that movie apart for 3 hours because it's kind of a terrible adaptation.
It's got Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, it does. It's his first role. He plays Cedric
Pattinson
Diggory.
or Pattinson?
Pattinson plays Cedric Diggory and dies.
He's got
spoiler.
He's got eyebrows.
Yeah. So that's This Film Is Lit. Check out Luna and the Moonling. It's out now on Steam. Art director or something like that was one of our good friends of the show. Yes, from eForce, he made this cool art behind us.
It's just beautiful stuff.
Yeah. So go check out his game, Luna and the Moonling. Cool puzzle game. And I believe that is it. Until next time, keep watching movies.
Later.